In this video, I want to show you how to add buttons and how to put in broadcasts so that your buttons work well. So I'm going to go to my project over here, and at this point in the story, this sprite right here says, please choose a path for us to take. There's two things that you can do with buttons, first of all. You can make buttons as a sprite, or you can design your own. I'll show you both. So if I was going to choose from sprites, I would click on that little sprite icon right here. And then I could select a button that I thought would be appropriate. So maybe I'll pick this one right here. And then I want to design this and design it in a way that will be applicable. So I want to make sure that it's in vector mode, which it is. And then I'll add some text like smuggler path. Remember, once you click out of that, you can make it smaller by resizing it right here. Okay. It's not totally perfect, but that's fine for me for right now. So I've got one button, and I want to position that button. Make sure that you drag the button where you want it to go, and then for scripts, you have to make sure that it's positioned in that place. What do I mean by that? So when flag clicked, I want to hide it, but at the same time, I need to position it in the right place. So I'm going to position this at this X position right here. So right over here looks fine for me. 166.98 is what it says. 166.98. Okay. So when the flag is clicked, I want to hide it. Let me make my second button. I said you could design one if you wanted, and the way that you could design it is just by painting a new sprite. And then I might have a button that looks like more circular, and I can fill this one in. And this one I'll call Uncle Path. Change that. Oops, didn't convert this to vector mode. So let me delete that and try it again. I want to paint a new sprite. Let me convert it to vector mode, make my button, fill it in with the appropriate color, okay, and then add in the text, Uncle Path. Okay, and then I select here. Good, I've got my text. It's editable because it's in vector mode. And again, I'm going to move my sprite and position it. When the flag is clicked, I want this one to be locked in right at this part. Okay. So now, how do I get my buttons to actually work? Well, after this person is done talking, please choose a path for us to take. I'm going to broadcast something. So I'm going to go to Events, and I'm going to broadcast a message. I'm going to call this message a new message called show button. Okay. What should happen then is when these two receive show button, they should show up. So I'll go to my first button, and when I receive show button, then I want it to show. Remember, there's a little trick if you want the same code to be on two different things. You can just drag that code and drop it over that sprite. So I've got when I receive show button show, when I receive show button show. Okay, now I can work with each individual button. When this button is clicked, it should disappear and it should switch to a different path. Okay, so I'm going to drag over the code now for when these buttons are actually clicked. Okay, when this sprite is clicked, I'm going to broadcast a message. Okay, and I'm going to broadcast a message called button clicked. Button clicked. And I'm going to broadcast another message called smuggler path. Smuggler path. Watch why I have two broadcasts when this button is clicked. When button is clicked, I want all of these guys to disappear. So I'm going to drag over this code. When I receive button clicked, I need this guy to hide. But I don't just need this guy to hide, I need all of them to hide, right? So I'm going to do, again, my same trick. When I receive button clicked, this should hide. When I receive button clicked, this should hide. When I receive button clicked, this should hide. Let me just make sure that they're all there. Yep, that one's there. This one's there. And then over here, this one's here. Excellent. Now the only difference is that this is broadcasting smuggler path, and this one is going to broadcast, when this sprite is clicked, it's going to broadcast button clicked, but uncle path. So I'm going to go to when this sprite is clicked, I'm going to broadcast button clicked, but I'm also going to broadcast uncle path. Okay. Let me now switch between smuggler path and uncle path. Now I can go to my scenes. When I receive smuggler path, I'm going to switch my backdrop. I've got a bunch of backdrops here. This one will be my uncle path, and I'll make a new one and call this one smuggler path. This one I'll call smuggler path. Okay, so now when I receive smuggler path, change the backdrop to smuggler path. When I receive uncle path, change the backdrop to the African refugee boat. At this point, oops, you notice this, I forgot a little code right here. This uncle path doesn't have when flag clicked should have hide. Let me try that again. Okay, Muhammad's story. Okay, my name is Muhammad. Okay, thank you for listening to my story. Let me introduce you to my brother. I'm Muhammad's brother, Paul. He and I escaped from our war-torn land. Please choose a path for us to take. Now the broadcast comes in. I should see two buttons, which I do. If I choose one of them, like uncle path, awesome. Everything's working. Perfect.